Morning, everyone. Rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We just asked everybody to please. We have many public servants in this community that dedicate their lives to this community. And just recently, in the last week or so, I'm sure many of us know, we heard about the passing of Karen Kleist, who was the secretary of Bingman Township for 26 years. This was one woman who knew exactly how to operate in that position. I dealt with her very much while I was the borough president of Milford, considering we're the neighbors to Bingman Township. And this is a great loss to our community. It's a bigger loss to our family. You know, George, I went to high school with him. They were really a great family in our community. And I just wanted to take one moment here for us to just remember Karen and her family, and then also the residents of Bingman Township, because they're going to that's going to be a tough seat to fill in that township. So just one moment. Thank you. Okay, first item on the agenda is any public comments or questions concerning today's agenda. None, we move on to a motion to approve the March 1st, 2023 agenda.
A motion.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 15th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 22nd, 2023 conference minutes.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the payment from the general fund county bills in the amount of $269,053.96.
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment from liquid fuels in the amount of $2,083.80.
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment from the bridge repair account in the amount of $54,263.48.
Motion.
Second. Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the exonerations presented by Gina Rios, Tax Claim Bureau Director, to 3 properties in Green Township, all deemed abandoned.
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the exonerations presented by Gina Rios, Tax Claim Bureau Director, for 80 properties sold out of the county repository between November and December 2022, and the taxes were exonerated.
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Personnel. Motion to acknowledge receipt from Warden Lowe advising that he has hired with prison board approval the following individuals as full-time correctional officers, the correctional facility, for a 40-hour work week effective March 13th, 2023, with benefits after 90 days. These are replacement positions: Anthony Cardone, David Corinne, Jaquette Estamin, and Cassandra Price.
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to acknowledge receipt from Warden Lowe advising that he has hired with prison board approval Donna Tyler as a full-time food production supervisor for the correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 13th, 2023, with benefits after 90 days. This is a replacement position.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to acknowledge receipt from Warden Lowe advising that he has hired with prison board approval Jeremy Jaggers as a full-time food production supervisor at the correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 20th, 2023, with benefits after 90 days. This is a replacement position.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to recess the commissioners meeting to hold a salary board meeting.
Motion.
Second. Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Salary board. Motion to convene the salary board.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 15th, 2023 salary board minutes.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions?
Aye.
Motion to set the hourly rate of the following individuals at $24.72 per hour as full-time correctional officers for the correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 13th, 2023, with benefits after 90 days. Anthony Cardone, David Grimm, Jaquette Estamin, Cassandra Price.
Motion. Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to set the hourly rate of Donna Tyler at $20 per hour as full-time food production supervisor, correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 13th, 2023, with benefits after 90 days.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to set the hourly rate of Jeremy Jaggers at $20 per hour as a full-time food production supervisor, correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 20th, 2023, with benefits after 90 days.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn the salary.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the commissioners meeting.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to advertise for bids for the Pike County Jail Ice Building Roof Replacement Project.
Motion.
Second, any questions? In favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt resolution number 2305 designating the month of March as colon cancer awareness month and March 30th, 2023 as casual day in Pike County.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye. Yep. Resolution number 23-05 designating the month of March as colon cancer awareness month and March 30th, 2023 as casual day in Pike County. Whereas colon and rectal cancers are one of the most frequently diagnosed cancers in northeastern Pennsylvania. And whereas incidence and mortality rates in some areas are as much as 13% higher than the US average. And whereas about 75% of new cases of colon and rectal cancer occur in patients of average risk. And whereas approximately 525 new cases are diagnosed and nearly 200 patients die from colon cancer each year in the counties of Lackawanna, Luzerne, Monroe, Pike, Susquehanna, Wayne, and Wyoming combined. Whereas the Northeast Regional Cancer Institute has been easing the burden of cancer in northeastern Pennsylvania for over 30 years through community and patient services, hospital and practice support services, and cancer surveillance programs specifically designed to meet the unique needs of our region. And whereas on Thursday, March 30, 2023, the Northeast Regional Cancer Institute will sponsor the 20th annual casual, and it stands for Colon Cancer Awareness Saves Unlimited Adults Lives Day, to increase colon cancer awareness throughout northeastern Pennsylvania. And whereas Casual Day was established by the family of Helen Phillips, who fought a courageous battle against colon cancer and died in the summer of 2002. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners of County of Pike, do hereby urge residents of Pike County and all northeastern Pennsylvania to be screened for early detection of colon cancer, participate and support the Northeast Regional Cancer Institute in its colon cancer awareness efforts, and designate the month of March as Colon Cancer Awareness Month and March 30th, 2023 as Casual Day of Pike County.
She is not.
She's not. Okay, we're going to be joined by Karen Saunders, the president of the association, but I guess you come on. So we'll send her the resolution, and we'll just make a comment that it's so important that everybody make sure that they get proper cancer screenings. As many know in the room, there's many of us in this community that have suffered from some form of cancer, and with the right type of awareness and the right type of treatment, it can be rid out of your life. So I'll just tell everybody if you should take heed of what this resolution says and take care of yourselves. We all want to be here a long time. At least I do. Next item we have is a motion to authorize the chairman to execute direct TV terms of service for business viewing customers agreement on behalf of the correctional facility as approved by the prison.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the annual cathodic protection inspection agreement on behalf of the correctional facility as approved by the prison board.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the Otis Elevator Company's service and repair order.
Motion. Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following human service payment vouchers on behalf of the Office of Human Services Fair in the amount of $3,900. Emergency Rental Assistance Program 2.0 in the amount of $110,582.30.
Motion. Second.
Motion. Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the CDBG payment voucher in the amount of $7,050 payable to the Pro Solutions Home Renovations LLC on behalf of the Office of Human Services.
Motion. Second. Aye. Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute Pike County Rental Assistance Contract number 63 on behalf of the Office of Human Services.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the Housing Rehabilitation Assistance Lien on behalf of the Office of Human Services.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the renewal application for existing certificate of compliance on behalf of Children and Youth Services.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. Questions? Favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the civil rights compliance attestation on behalf of the Children and Youth Services.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to execute the Special Victims Advocate Program, SBAP 2023 grant application to the Federal Victims of Crime Act for full and partial personal salary and medical benefits reimbursements on behalf of the District Attorney's Office.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to request a contract amendment for extension request to the Community Development Block Grant Agreement on behalf of the Office of Human Services.
Motion.
Second. Second. Any questions? Favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the Pennsylvania DEP 903 grant for reimbursement of 50% of the recycling coordinator's salary expense for the 2022 calendar year on behalf of the Office of Community Planning.
Motion.
Second. Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the state water obstruction and encroachment permit for Springbrook Road Bridge.
Motion. Second.
Second. Questions? Favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the request for quotations from Fabcor Incorporated for Pike County Bridge number 18 on East Sugar Mountain Road.
Motion.
Second. Motion. Second. Any questions? Favor?
Aye.
Okay, we move to miscellaneous, and as on every agenda, there is the Penn State Extension calendar of events. And the next item on here, we're going to be talking about EMS services, but I think the highlight in the Penn State Extension is the second item, which is the 4-H Future First Responders Camp, which is June 26th to the 30th. This is organized by Angie Smith, who is a dynamic, vibrant woman who runs our 4-H program. And I would hope that the press would publicize this because it's so important that we continue to move our young people into the services of emergency responders, whether that be EMTs or even for that matter, join Timmy up there and get into the young firefighters program. So I just asked them that they highlight that. That's very important. So with that, we'll move to the next item, and we have with us, first off, we have the Bureau Director, Aaron Rohn, Bureau Director of Pennsylvania Department of Health Bureau and Emergency Medical Services with us today, and we'll hear a little bit from him, but we're going to have a report after 1 year of us funding the EMS services in Pike County, what the impact is that it has had on response times. And we have a report that was put together by Tim Knapp and his department, Kyle Rohner and Jason Wisniewski. Jordan, sorry, too many Jasons, Jordan. I know you have. To give us that update, and I think what we're all going to hear is it's a really good update. It's had great impact on every single community, every single visitor and visitors and residents that come to Pike County. So, Tim, I'll leave it to you. I know you have a little PowerPoint you'll do here, and then I'm sure we'll hear from the secretary, Bureau Director. Sorry, I want to move you up the ladder too quick. Thank you, guys.
Good morning. Thank you all here today. We think it's release the year finding. We did a 6-month finding that was very positive for us, and now we want to release the full year findings of what we found. And I think you'll see that it's very positive. As you know, the county started putting matching 2% millage of the ambulance funds to certain municipalities that offered some sort of money of some sort. And we knew going into this, it's been a long drug out thing, but we knew what it comes down to basically is money. That's what it comes down to. You have to pay staff, you have to pay ambulance crews, and basically, it's most important to have, ambulance service and emergency services for our citizens. And I just want to commend, there's not many, as you'll hear from the Bureau Director later, there's not many municipalities or counties out there that have done something to this level. So we're a one-off pretty much, and it's working. So let me just go through the PowerPoint and show you some of the highlights that we decided or came up with. Okay, don't worry.
Shannon, take over, please.
Okay, when we started this way back in 2017, our purpose of this whole review process was, and that was the year-long review, was to see where we were at, and where we wanted to get. And there was a big difference in between the two. There was a lot of work, and we have some great municipalities that we worked with to achieve what we wanted to do. The other thing we worked on, everybody always hears the difference between BLS and ALS. Well, BLS is basic life support, that's your typical ambulance you see, and ALS is advanced life support. They can do stuff more advanced than BLS unit. One of the things that we decided, well, not decided, one of the things that we found in our report was we had to fix the BLS before we could get the ALS. You know, you got to fix your basic level before we can fix our basic level. And I think you'll see that we found that. Okay, the 2022 existing services as of right now, today, you'll see that, you know, Bushkill has 3, Delaware Township has 2. You want to read them off?
Yeah, Dingham Township has 3 transport capable ambulances now. 2 of them are paid staff. Hemlock Farms has 2 ambulances. They only have 1 staff on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Lackawaxen has 3 capable ambulances. They usually have 1 unit staffed fully, and then they have a secondary unit that's staffed in their Greeley station. Lehman now has, they got the official 3rd one kind. I know they had 1 ordered. So they have 3 ambulances. They have an ALS on staff as well as a BLS unit. Lake Region comes in to help out from the Hawley area. Milford has 1 ambulance on. That's 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Port Jervis has been covering the Matamoros Borough as their primary unit. That's a paid staff there. Shaholy EMS is also 12 hours a day unit, 7 days a week. Hafton has 2 units, but the only first unit is paid. They supplement with their volunteers and paper call basis. For their second unit, Westfall does a part-time volunteer ambulance, and they do a paid per call thing, and then Newfoundland ambulance. They come out of, they get dispatched out of Wayne County, so some of their numbers for us are a little difficult to come by, but they're fully volunteered.
Here's the EMS coverage map. You'll see some areas are bigger than others, but you'll see that the whole county of Pike is covered pretty well with the different units that are offering service here. Here's the 2017 call volume to the 2022 call volume. And you'll see, you know, basically everybody has gone up. And you'll see later on in the slide program that that's a common theme that we're coming across here, that like you'll see from 2017, 2022, just how much it's gone up.
So you look at 5 years, nearly 1,000 calls that have increased for our county. So, and now we've increased to more paid services that are capable of handling that call volume.
Just for example, you know, when you see this 7,625 total calls are reported in 2022, that is completed calls. That is means somebody made patient contact and either RMA'd or went to the hospital. The actual dispatch calls are almost what, 12,000 was it? Yeah. So there's a little difference.
I think that's an important note that it's 7,625 actual movements of patients.
Oh yeah, that was patient contact. That you made patient contact.
Yeah, right.
You'll see how we saturated the area. 2017 is on your left, 2022 is on your right, with the added services provided into the county. Okay, here's some of the increased services or the increased services. Lehman Pike EMS, 24 hours, paid BLS and ALS. Cholla Township Fire, 12 hours, BLS, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Lackawaxen EMS, dedicated at least 80 hours a week to the Greeley station. Milford Fire Department has 12 hours BLS, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Dingham Township Fire Department EMS, 24 hours paid BLS at 2 stations. There used to be just one as a volunteer, now they have 2 separate stations. You're never going to solve this issue, but this is something that we face as well. We send units out of county. We're in a tri-county area here, so you're going to send units out of county. And you'll see that we sent units to Wayne County 183 times, Monroe 196, Orange County 77, Sussex 6. And you know, basically 43 times we sent units out of state. We're not going to solve that problem. That's part of a mutual aid agreement, and that's part of the licensure of ambulances.
That being said, I mean, we have more drivers coming over to run Matt Morris's calls.
Yep, they are the contracted company for Morris. So that's something, just so you know, 462 calls, that's basically an ambulance for the year. So just to put it in perspective of how many calls that is. We said we have added state company that services an area. Port Jervis runs mutual aid into Westfall, and they are the service provider for Matamoros Borough. Okay, I got my. We'll talk about the important stuff here, response times. We won't go down the list through all of them because some of the ones that are current, you know, they all increase, I will tell you that. But I'll give you some good ones here. Shahola Township, you know, their response time right now is 8.25 minutes. That's from the time it's dispatched to the time they're on scene. That's where they're at right now when they're in service. Back in 2017, that was 29 minutes. Half hour, we cut that right out of it. Let's pick another one here. They've all increased. I mean, they've all got better. 12.4. Okay. Milford Township, 12.4. Back in 2017, it was 16.2. I tell you what, that 4 minutes makes a big difference. Big difference. Here's a good one right here too. Dingman Township. SWAT 26, when it was a volunteer rig, when they were dispatched, it would take 25.3 minutes to get on scene. No, that's covering it. That's if we covered 18.9 minutes to get on scene. Now they're doing it in 11.28 minutes. And if they had to get a cover unit, if they didn't respond or they were out on another call, that time would have been 25.3 minutes.
On an average.
On an average. Now, these are all averages. Delaware Township went from 12.9 and 17 to 8.4 and 22. Now, even Bloom Grove Township went from 7.7 to 7. Even the ones that were currently in business, yeah, as a career ambulance, increase their response time. They've gotten better. So that's a big thing for us. I mean, that's a major thing because as we know in an emergency situation, every minute counts, every second counts. And when you're not getting, 5, 10, 15 minutes off response times, that's a big plus for everybody involved.
I just say, I think part of that can be attributable to the fact that everybody is strong now.
Yes.
Prior to this, what we were having, this is what we identified when we did that report, was that we had, Blooming Grove and these Lackawaxen are all intact with very strong EMS services during that time. But what it was doing was the ones that were weaker were putting stress on them. So if they were out of Blooming Grove servicing another township, the response time in Blooming Grove obviously would be higher. But now, because we have these other rings out there between Milford Borough and all, a little weaker, it's taken all the strain off of these larger. And now we're a much safer community because of these. So.
And that's the big thing too, because now when we got to send a unit out of Blooming Grove Township, we know that Lackawaxen, for example, is a career unit. They're going to be a career unit. We're not waiting for the volunteer world is great. We have some of the best volunteers in the country here in Pike County, but when you have a career unit that's getting out of the building under 3 minutes, that's a very important process when it comes to EMS.
And sharing the load, if I might, I was the solicitor for Elmira Township for almost 4 decades. And in 2019, 40% of their calls were outside of Elmira Township. Yet Elmira Township was paying for that.
Mm-hmm.
We, in fact, went to the other townships and said, we're going to start charging you. Interestingly enough, that led to some meetings. And it was one particular meeting where the commissioner showed up and said, we're willing to match the money. That really made the game change here. Elmira Township is now about half of that in terms of their call. Still going outside the township, but other companies are able to come into the township.
It's an economy of scale. Even though they're going out of their community, it's still Pike County tax dollars that are paying. So it takes away that stigma of, I'm sure, Director Home sees it all the time. All my money's going to, municipality X. Well, yeah, it is, but they're part of the tax. So.
And don't forget, like what has happened with all this funding here has made the mutual aid agreements stronger and being able to be more capable of running these calls to help each other out. You're never going to get away from the mutual aid of you're going to have a call in your municipality and then there's going to be a second call in the municipality. That's never going to go away. having these ambulances that are there, staffed and ready to respond and to help out, that's what's making everything kind of ease and work and kind of calm the political seas, if you will.
And protecting the community, which is the
Absolutely.
most important part of this.
Okay, we talked about the added units that we added with this plan that we had. Few examples, Shahola, their primary area, they handled 121 calls in their primary. Mutual aid, they handled 11 for 132 calls. Lehman EMS did 179 calls in their primary, 254 mutual aid as ALS. Remember I talked, you gotta start with the BLS before you get to the ALS. Now you're seeing the ALS come into the picture more. For a total call volume of 976 calls. Port Jervis was contracted to run the EMS in Matamoros Borough, and they cover mutual aid to Westfall Township mostly. Has run, 191 calls into that primary area of Matamoros Borough. But here's the big thing. They've also brought in 345 calls ALS. So that's great. That will bring some ALS units in. Dingman Ambulance too. They have it up here on Muse Road. In their primary area, they picked up 382 calls. They did 486 calls for a total of 868 calls. One of the reasons they do, and this is why the system works, one of the reasons they pick up all those mutual aid calls is we got Shahola at 12 hours a day, we got Milford Borough at 12 hours a day, and we have them in a perfect location.
They pick up the slack when Shoal and Milford are out of service, as well as if they're busy on another.
Yeah, they are that ambulance in a couple of years, besides the Lehman unit, will probably be the busiest ambulance in the county just because of the location where they're at. Blackwatch ambulance in their primary area, their ambulance too, picked up 116 calls, 34 mutual aid, and for a total call volume of 150 calls. That's 2,837 calls that the added units since 2017 that we added to the roster here in Pike County have picked up. We had a failing system in 2017 that was failing real bad, and COVID made it a lot worse. Can you imagine if we didn't do anything and we had an extra 2,900 calls? So here's the updated calls. The call volume has grown 940 calls from 17 to 22, and there's no sign of it slowing down anytime soon. It's 188 calls a year average. So in 3 years, basically, you created enough call volume for another ambulance. What it costs. Okay. Well, we see we put a little bit of over $1.8 million of county funds into the EMS system here in Pike County. So if you take the math and you break it down by county residents, that's $30.79 per resident and $30.56 per taxable parcel. Pretty cheap insurance policy for some of the numbers I just showed you, right? I mean, there's 500 some ALS calls that we put in that we never had before.
For less than a tank of gas, basically.
Either less than 10 gas.
Even in your sedans now.
That should be commended by all the municipality leaders, all the commissioners of Pike County, and everybody else involved, because this wasn't an easy feat to make this happen. And as you can see, what you're getting for a return for your money is pretty darn good. I mean, you see, there's the speak right there. That's what it's costing. I can't go.
That's what I said, less than a tank of gas. That's the move around later.
So that's basically our end of year report. We'll continue to monitor it yearly. We'll see if we can make any changes here or there. And we're finishing up our training for the year, and we'll come down in a couple of weeks here and talk about, how we've got the manpower to provide these services. But at this time, I'd just like to bring Director Rowan up, and he can speak a little bit on behalf of the EMS. Process state, the PT development. Thank you.
Okay, she's just going to change the screen so.
So while he's coming out, if I can come and thank you guys, and I want to point out two things. One, we recognize it's not the county's responsibility to do this. We feel it is our responsibility to
We're proud of your work. We're proud that it's a safer place.
Credit for this because these guys and my predecessor Steve Puccini were really the ones to implement this. But it really is a great thing for the community. Having done a lot of municipal work, I know how much it's appreciated at that level. It really is.
Because part of our job is managing emergencies. You look at the list of things that commissioners do, and our feeling was we better manage this before it turns into an emergency, because it would have, as Timmy has told you, it was getting very crucial and very it was getting dangerous actually for the safety of people. And on a note with these District 7 meeting, so we have a meeting coming up, I think, in the next couple of weeks, where Bradford County is coming to I think it's Bradford, right, is coming here to meet with us to discuss this further. And all of those counties want to come and talk to us about this. We've been telling them what we've done and they're very impressed. So we'll share this report with them. This may push them a little further towards it also, because as Timmy has showed you, there's mutual aid that we're going into Wayne County. And listen, we all need to do that because we're all in this together. We all look to be safe. We all travel. We expect when we travel someplace that there is an adequate ambulance service there that's going to take us in case we have some car accident or medical issue. So getting more of the counties involved in this, it will reduce that mutual aid then, because if there's a stronger ambulance service, like we've said, municipalities in this county, if there's stronger ones across the border in Monroe and stronger ones in Wayne County, just strengthens the one here in Pike County. So this is all good for everybody in this Commonwealth. So Aaron, when you're, I guess we're still we're doing a little station break here for you.
I think we're great now.
So again, Commissioner, thank you for having me here today. My remarks will be very brief because you actually covered a lot of the things that I had intended to discuss. The biggest thing is we now from the Bureau are using Pike County as an example. The issues that you were facing in 2017 are not just faced in Pike County. They're faced across the Commonwealth, they're faced across the country. And I've used your example in talking with the Eastern Regional Directors of the National Association of EMS officials. It's all the state EMS directors across the country. We have a Northeast group that covers everything from West Virginia up into Maine. And we've used this example to explain what a county can do to assist in the cost of readiness and helping EMS agencies be better suited to serve the constituents of a county. But it is a local responsibility. Local is relative in this case, and utilizing the municipalities and the counties really has made an impact. And I've used this example across the Commonwealth as I go to speak, saying as a county, you have the availability to help in this situation. What we often fail to realize is EMS is paid for transport. So when they're taking care of someone and transporting them to the hospital, that's where they get their reimbursement money from. There's a whole cost to EMS that we never discussed, which is the cost of readiness. To have that ambulance sitting there waiting for a call costs money. There's medications that will expire that have to be replaced, but they're required to be on the ambulance to meet licensure. They're required to be there for someone to receive care if they need it. But if they don't use that medication on somebody, they can't bill for it. So you're stepping up, and your way of engaging your municipalities and using county funds to support this has helped offset the cost of readiness. You've seen response times decrease and actually address by bringing more ambulance services into the community to serve them. So from my perspective, you are the shining star that we are using as the example. So while some of you might have been called crazy for doing this, I hope you don't mind me being crazy enough to continue to tell them that this group did an amazing job. So I want to thank the commissioners and the residents of Pike County and Tim for doing what you've done to address the EMS crisis in the county of Pike. You've made a huge difference and will continue to do so. This can stay on the books for as long as you allow as commissioners. So from my perspective, thank you for what you've done. And thank you for allowing me to continue to use Pike County as an example to show how we can affect the change across the Commonwealth. You mentioned earlier about going out of county or going to a neighboring municipality. Those are struggles we face every day. And you mentioned your solicitor role. You were supporting other people not getting money to your service. I would say that that's a conversation we have countlessly across the Commonwealth today. And this is a prime reason why I'm hopeful that other people will take on the Pike County model and start coming up with ways to help support it from both the municipal level and the county level. So again, thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for helping tear down some of that barrier of cost for parents.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will share this report with you. I'm sure Timmy has already. So I guess that takes us to, well, I guess we have any questions for Aaron? Just go to general public comments. Chris?
The reference to the EMS matching grant fund, that's the 2 mills, right?
That's the 2 mills, up to 2 mills, correct.
So there's no other input like donations, it's just,
Well, the donations would come through that would be up to the EMS services, the individual agencies, fire companies, whoever's running that. They're probably, and I know they are, still doing fundraising and all that. This is just more money to put into that pot. And they're also, they do get some reimbursements from insurance, but all of that was not enough to do what we have done here.
okay, one other. I noticed in the public notices that you're doing the tax anticipation note at the conference. Is that just a routine thing, or is there something special about this year's budget or what?
Well, I'll let the treasurers here to talk about that. So, some years we have gotten so close to putting the paperwork in. This year, we just felt, for obvious reasons, the treasurer will explain it, about some revenues that normally come in from the state. We get a lot of revenue reimbursements from the state, and they come in timely fashions. This year, it seems like that timely is not the time that we expect, because remember, the state runs on a different fiscal year than we do. We also operate when we send our tax bills out. So there's always this delay in not just the county, but even the municipalities. So January hits, but the tax bills where we get most of our revenue does not go, the bills just went out. So there's this lag in the middle there where we always have to be sure that there's enough money in the coffers to make sure we can take care of standing bills. And some of it has to do with just the timing. This is a cash flow issue, really, because of the timing. And it's also, many businesses always have a line of credit. In the county's respect, we have to put this through. We can't just take out a line of credit. We can't just have we're not allowed to just have a standing line of credit. We have to put this through the process with DCU. John, I think, can explain to you what that slow is, the delay in some of the cash that's coming in from the state, correct?
Yeah, Chris, this year in particular, some of the reimbursements, as Matt said, from the state are delayed. We expect them soon, but I asked them just to do this, and because of the advertisement with DCED, just to have it ready as a safety net. I really don't think we're going to do everything in our power not to utilize it, so we don't have to pay any interest or anything like that. But because of the advertising, there's a time process involved. I asked them to go ahead and do it just as a safety net in case we need it, but I'm truly hoping we don't.
So there's reimbursements.
There's counties, I can tell you, that just automatically do it every year. Like Milford Borough did it every year.
Wayne County does it every year.
Wayne County does it every year.
And quite frankly, by April, it's won't even be an issue, right?
No.
Because by then you start getting tax revenue.
I just wonder if that's a safety net.
Reimbursements we speak of is there's a reimbursement for children and youth. There's reimbursements that we get through probation. There's a lot of state agencies that help fund these organizations. Maybe people aren't aware that CNY, Children and Youth, is not funded 100% by the county. The county, the number is somewhere like 80-20. 80% of the money comes from the state, 20% comes from the county. There's a mix in there depending on what the services are, but we have to wait sometimes for that money to come in. And this is the
We have
time
to
of the
we have
year.
to wait because we have to pay it up
We
front
have to pay it up front, right?
and then get reimbursement, submit an invoice to the state, so to speak, and get our reimbursement. And this year it seems to be delayed now. Whether there's new acting directors in each department is, I don't know what it is. We're trying to get the answer.
You're going up front to keep children and youth.
Well, not just children and youth, the county itself, but we always do pay, all of these expenses get paid first by the county and reimbursed later by the state. And we don't get the money first. And that's, so there's a little delay here. It's cash flow. It's a business practice. It's not anything unusual. If we don't need to use it, we won't pay. I think the interest rate was like 2.74%. So it's not some crazy interest rate either. Even if we did use it. Most of us wish we could borrow money at 2.7.
How come you're doing it at a conference?
But the timing of this, just because DCED has a certain time element that we have to be able to do this. And the next time we could advertise it and do it, because this just became a concern. We were hoping that this money would come from the state. If we had gotten the money from the state, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't have done it. But just all the way until this week, we were talking on the phone and everything about, we need to do this. And it come up to, in fact, Sunday night, I was talking to the treasurer that, yeah, Monday morning, we need to move on this.
Well, the bank involved,
Chris, I check my emails.
the bank involved, the non-bank didn't approve the loan, although we knew it would get approved until last Thursday. We couldn't advertise till we knew that was a done deal.
Matt, can you talk a little bit about municipalities passed on matching funds for EMS?
Well, some of them didn't take all of the 2 mills, you know, and for whatever reason that is, you know, that is their decisions how to do that. Most of them did though. I believe, well, you can see, I think it was 1.8 million, and I believe 2 mills in the county is 2.2 million. So there's about $400,000 round numbers laying on the table. Some of them, for whatever reason, decided not to participate in this. I'd rather you ask the question to them than to us. You know, we put it out there on the table.
I don't know which ones.
We can give you that list.
Timmy can give you the list of them. I don't have that here right now. But Timmy can give you a list.
I have a follow-up unrelated question when you're ready.
Okay.
Concerning the Ohio train derailment, there's, obviously a lot of concern about toxic materials moving throughout the United States and unaware of what's going on. We've got a rail system here that's, pretty much, I don't know if it's completely abandoned, but it runs down the Delaware, crossing over from the south of Narrowsburg and back into New York for service. We also have Interstate 84 here. You guys know what toxic materials are moving through our county?
I don't think we know, but I think we're prepared. And I think the question is that gentleman right there, because that is the EMA director, and they're the ones who respond to any of these truck accidents, as a smaller truck accident where diesel fuel gets spread across the road, they have to deal with that just as they do. And obviously the thing in Ohio and Pennsylvania is much more severe, comparatively, but they do respond to it. And Timmy, if you want to speak to it, because there's a trailer up there, there's equipment. I believe we have a contract with an organization in Pittston who is on a 24-hour notice that if there is some form of an accident on 84 or any place in the county, because, we talk about 84, but you also have fuel trucks going through this town. You have propane trucks, just going to people's homes. Anything can happen on any given day, but I believe we're ready with a hazmat trailer and everything. Timmy, I'll let you do this.
You want to do it outside, Tim, after the.
Yeah, and then, and the thing to do is walk to the radio center and see what there's what is that? What's that called? The Northeastern.
Northeast Counterterrorism Task Force would supply us with a lot of stuff. They know, the state code also has, mandates us to have a certified hazmat team, the contract to the county, and that's state in front of us. Out of personnel for here.
We can just talk about that.
Yeah.
But knowing what's coming down the highway, I'm not sure.
No, here's the problem, what do you got to rely on placards, and I'll give you a classic example. Somebody takes 15 little 30-pound propane cylinders to go get them filled up, puts them in the trunk of their car. That's so as far as knowing what comes down, military goes through military placard or stuff.
He's the guy to talk to, don't know.
That's one of those things, it's almost like.
Good question.
You've got to be prepared more than.
Okay, those. Any other press or public comment? Thank you all. Thank you.